Steve Dotto here. How the heck you doing this fine day? Me? I'm pretty excited about today's demo because we're going to be taking a look at a tool that I've been using for a very long time and has been kind of an integral part of my content publishing system. It's called Buffer, today on Dotto Tech. Now, Buffer is a social media dashboard. Much like other social media dashboards that we've shown in the past, Hootsuite and Agorapulse, it's a big part of my content publishing, kind of my routine, how I publish content. Now, each of the different social media dashboards brings a different strength to the table, but Buffer, I think, is the ultimate content curation tool. Now, I primarily use it in Twitter. So here's the setup. In Twitter, you have a constant stream of content going out. It's a challenge for anybody to stay in Twitter and to be posting enough to be relevant because your posts last for 10 minutes within people's feeds and then they're gone. So if you're sharing content, you have to kind of have a steady stream of information going out if you want to engage your community. This is promotional rather than conversational use of Twitter. Now, so what I do is I share information that I think is interesting, that I think my community will be interested in. So I use Twitter and I curate content to share with that community. And I use Buffer to set up a steady stream of that content going out. So I don't have to constantly be posting to Buffer, but instead I can have a few hours, a few days, or even a few weeks of content set up and ready to go. Now, to be fair, I never really have a few weeks, but I often have a few, or I like to have at least about a day's worth of content ready to go out to Twitter. Now, Buffer is free to try, and actually it's free if we take a look. If you just use it for a single network, I think they keep it free. Yeah, it's free for one platform, for one social account. But then it starts at about $10 a month. As I say, it has been an integral tool in my publishing mix. So let's dive into it and take a look, kind of show you how it all works. Now, this is my Buffer dashboard, and you can see it's got tabs for content, for analytics, scheduling, and then you've got your settings. And down the left-hand side, you've got all of your different social media accounts. It will integrate with all of the main social media accounts. And it's really designed for you to prepare and to post content in the future in those accounts. That's really what Buffer's strength is. Now, this here is the actual queue of posts which are about to go out. And this is something that you'll almost never see, but I let it all run out so you can see it kind of the way it's going to start for you. So I've got nothing in my content queue. Right now, I'm not posting anything from Buffer into Twitter, and I primarily use it for Twitter. A lot of people use it for Facebook as well, and Instagram. They can use it for, you can use it for all the Facebook, as I said, all the social channels. I primarily use it for Twitter. So here is the process that I typically go through. As I said, I use it for a lot of content curation. So I, on a daily basis, to kind of stay up on what's happening, go to sites like BuzzSumo. Now, BuzzSumo is a content site that looks at what's all the trending topics are in the online space and then brings them to you. And even with the free version, which you see right here, you get some a phenomenal feel for exactly what's happening. Let me refresh this link so you can see the most current content. So I just refresh it. And these are all of the top tech stories that they rank as tech that are happening. Now, you can use this tool for some really in-depth research, but even at this kind of 30,000 foot level, I like to go through and see exactly what it is people are talking about. And when I find a story that I'm interested in, chances are my community's interested in that story as well. So if I take a look here, it says Apple's not going to replace their iPhone 6 batteries. And I read it's in Business Insider. It's a nice, interesting story, and something that probably, since I know I have a lot of Apple users and a lot of iPhone users, that they're going to want to know because we're all concerned about the batteries on all of our devices. So this is something that I would like to share with my community. So this is where Buffer starts to really come to the fore. So along with installing Buffer as an app, you can also install a browser extension, which we see right here in my browser bar. When I click on that, it launches a little utility which will take and queue up the post of the page that I'm looking at, and it will find the images that are related to it. It pulls the Twitter content, like when you create a web page, you can determine exactly what the title is and what the text is going to be for Twitter. All of that content publishers are putting out. So it just basically auto-populates the post for me right out of the gate. So I could just take this, and if I click Add to Queue, what it does is it takes this post. Let's just close the page down. And it puts it here. We'll see it right here in my buffer queue. I've got one post ready to go. Now, of course, one post is not going to last you very long unless you're posting once a day. If we go and take a look in the schedule here, I've set up Buffer to publish content 14 times a day in these different time zones. So you can set it up for as often or as few posts as you want, and you can set the schedule up for different networks for different times. So you can set up your Facebook posts for one time, your Twitter posts for another time. So basically for me though, now the process will be continuing to go through all of this different content here as I read through and kind of do my daily research. Things that I find interesting, things that I think my community will be interested in, I share into Buffer using this particular feature, the web clipping kind of feature of just basically clipping the content into Buffer, and then it's put into the queue. So that's step one. But one thing about Twitter is if you just post an interesting post once in Twitter, a very small percentage of your followers are going to see it, because Twitter's like this river with the information going by ever so fast. So I believe it's a good idea for valuable content to repost it multiple times so that your community has a better chance of seeing it. So again, Buffer steps up to the table. So if we go back into my content tab here within Buffer, you can see this post is still queued up. It hasn't hit the time mark for it to be sent, but it might be sent before we're certainly done with this this demo today. But Buffer has two other tools here that I use to help curate even more content. The first is the content inbox. Now this pulls an RSS feed from all of the sites that I think are really relevant. So these are sites that I go to on an ongoing basis, and you can see their little logos on the side. Things like HubSpot and TechCrunch. And what it does is it pulls the posts that are there and lists them out for me. So I can actually go through and I quickly read through all of the different content that's happening here. And I'll often look at the posts themselves, but I can write out of here. Evernote is going to simplify its new OS, so that's something that I definitely want to add to my mix because everybody that follows us is interested in Evernote. So I again click on this, choose a graphic to make it look a little bit more interesting, and add it to the queue. And now our queue has an extra post ready to go. So now we've gone from 1 to 2 posts in it. This content inbox will allow you to have up to 15 different sites that you track. And so I've put into it the sites that I go to and read. The Next Web, some of my friends that I follow in social media are in here. I've got a nice mix of these posts. So I'll typically, after I've gone through BuzzSumo and seen kind of what the most popular topics in the online space are in the world of technology, then I will come here and I will quickly read through all of the different posts that are available to me here. And this is what keeps me up to date in what's happening in the world of technology. While I'm at it then, I share these posts out to my community, and it helps them understand exactly what's happening in the world of technology. So that is step 2 of how I use Buffer. The third way that I use it is it actually goes and measures the analytics, how popular all of the posts that I put forward are. And what I can do then is after I've queued up those two styles of posts coming from research and from feeds that are coming in to me, then I go through and I see exactly how well different posts that I've posted over the last 24 or 48 hours are performing. And I can see how many times they're retweeted and how popular they are. And if I find something that's a little bit more popular, like, here there's something about Rogue One, I can rebuffer that, which basically takes that and throws it right back in the queue ready to go. Of course, while I'm going through this, I can add extra value at any time. I can go in, I can add more hashtags, I can add personal comments here in the editing field as I'm creating and preparing and pushing all of these posts out. So depending on how much time you want to spend in this content curation process, you can craft them to be very personalized, or you can push out a lot of content very quickly. So for me, Buffer is an essential tool that really helps me basically service my especially Twitter community by sending them a constant stream of stuff that's top of my mind. The things that I'm curious about, I believe my community is curious about. So this is a process that I do on a daily basis, looking at the different feeds, looking at the different stories, seeing what people are seeing, are talking about, seeing what's popular and what's urgent in the world of tech. And then I share that to my community, and they seem to appreciate it. We get a lot of retweets. We get a lot of interaction. This is content curation at its finest. Buffer is the basic tool that makes it work for me. And when I'm on the road, I have the opportunity to do it with my mobile device as well, because Buffer has a terrific mobile app. Let me show you. I keep Buffer under all of my Twitter apps because, as I say, I primarily use it for Twitter. But you can certainly use it for a lot of other social networks as well. So now that I've opened the app, you can see that I've got basically the same functionality. Here's my queue of all of the videos that we've just queued up and have ready to go. If I want to check, if I want to go to my content inbox that we were looking at earlier with all of my feed, I have access to that as well. So even on your mobile device, you can go through and you can add, let me find something that I would want to add. 7 instant advantages inbound website design. No, that's not interesting. It's not just you. Google Drive is having issues. People be interested in that. I add it. And just like I do on the desktop, I have the ability to buffer this and include it in the feed. And now that has been incorporated into our overall feed within Buffer. Now we also have the ability here to take a look at the analytics. See that? Which gives us the exact same feedback as we have on the desktop version. So very nice integration between mobile and desktop. So you can use Buffer to curate content, whether you're sitting at your computer or whether you're using your mobile device. Buffer, the content curation tool of choice for me, especially for my Twitter community. It keeps them well informed. Well, I hope you found today's video to be very informational, and I have 2 favors to ask of you. First is, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, and while you're at it, a like if you've enjoyed the video would be greatly appreciated. Secondly, please subscribe to our newsletter. That way I can let you know about our upcoming trainings, tutorials, and webinars. Till next time, I'm Steve Dotto. Have fun storming the castle.